was here at the opening with Laurel and Hardy in 1947 when I was going to the Academy in London, and I traveled down here to see this great opening.
When the Rumney Hythe and Dymchurch Railway, the smallest public railway in the world, recently celebrated its 21st birthday, Messrs. Laurel and Hardy were invited to the party.
We live in the old days. We really enjoy the past. We enjoy the present too, but Laurel and Hardy portray something for us that's just irretrievable any other way.
It's the memory of Laurel and Hardy. To see the old films when they were here in 1947 and how Stanley had to help Ollie into the car, and anything associated with Laurel and Hardy is so much fun to kind of relive that.
They're just the best comedy team that was ever in existence and probably always will be till time immemorial.
We hope to have a good time. Goodbye now.
The Constitution of the Sons of the Desert was approved in the 1950s by Stan Laurel himself. He said, "The only thing I insist on is that everyone should have a hell of a lot of fun."
Well, I wouldn't have missed this thing for the world. It's taken me probably 4 years, really, to try to save up for this convention, and I just would not have missed this at all.
The great thing about the Sons of the Desert, not only our tent, is that you get people from all walks of life, from all shapes and sizes, all ages. And that's what unites us.
Here's another nice mess you've gotten me into.
What do you mean, I got you into?
Well, you sold that policeman that bottle of beer, didn't you?
I thought he was a streetcar conductor.
Hey, come over here. What's your name?
Stanley Laurel.
Say sir when you're addressing me. Now, what's your name?
Sir Stanley Laurel.
He can't help that, sir. It's a loose tooth, sir. Yeah? Well, we'll be seeing to that. What's your name?
Oliver Norval Hardy. Sir.
I started watching Laurel and Hardy on TV about 20 years ago when I was about that big, and just got totally addicted, and been interested ever since.
I guess I like the slapstick, down-to-earth, just plain comedy that had no hidden meaning or innuendo to it. Just have fun, tear up things, make people laugh. That's all. I like that.
How long do you think I'll be in here, Doctor?
Oh, at least a couple of months.
Gee, that's great. This is the first time in my life I've had such a wonderful rest. You big... Get me down! Oh, my neck! Get me down! Hey, do something
love them because they're good, clean, fun, it's visual humor, and it appeals to all ages. We have children in the Sons of the Desert, we have middle-aged people, we have older people, and they can all be watching the same film and getting the same amount of enjoyment. It's very, very unique, is Laurel and Hardy humor.
The sons, daughters and grandchildren have never had their convention in England before. The last one was in Hollywood, the next will be in Chicago or maybe Philadelphia. The last film Laurel and Hardy made together was more than 30 years ago, and not many film stars from that era or any other are able to lay claim to fans who will go to these lengths to celebrate them.
To come here, it was just heavy savings, not going out a lot to go drinking with my friends or baseball games. I just, they kept saying, well, how come you haven't been with us for a number of weeks? And I said, I've got something I've been planning for 2 years, and that's to go to England and to see where Stan Laurel was born. And so I've been going out a lot at home, and I was basically not seeing friends socially.
I had to leave my wife at home because she don't like to fly over the ocean. I do miss her. The other sacrifices, I'm a sales engineer who runs my own company, and my time is rather precious to it, but I took the time off for this because I love the group, I love what they do, and especially this trip is a beautiful trip.
The Sons of the Desert are off to Ulverston, south of the Lake District, where Stan Laurel was born in 1890. In his youth, he played the English music halls. At 20, he went to the United States, where he understudied Charlie Chaplin. He made his first film, Nuts in May, in 1918. A lot of people say Stan was the ideas man of the partnership, and it's Stan's birthplace the Sons are going to visit.
The point is, I lost my wife and she lost her husband, so we got together. Why not?
A branch of the Sons of the Desert is called a tent. Each tent is called after a Laurel and Hardy film. The chairman of the tent is the Grand Sheikh. These titles are no laughing matter. Honoring Stan and Ollie is a serious affair.
I feel that when we get to Stan's birthplace, that there'll be a little something special in it for all of us. Even though Stan has been gone nearly 20 years, he'll be there.
I think it's great because we're going to be there where Stan lived, and it's something different, and the town will never be the same when we're finished with it.
So I'm just dying to see it. Just want to get there, and just the whole thing is just fantastic.
Stan was special. He was able to work both sides of the camera. He'd work in the filming during the day, and the minute the filming was done, Stan was back to the editing room to make sure that the film editors kept exactly the pace that he wanted.
And he's set.
We've been Laurel and Hardy buffs since we were about 7, and we've just grown up with them. So when we got the opportunity to come here, we snatched at it. It's great.
Is it a great thrill for you travelling out?
Very much so. Been dying to do this for ages.
Well, I've known of them for quite a number of years, the Sons of the Desert, and I first heard of them through a newspaper article in New York. And I contacted the hotel mentioned in there and became a member, and in subsequent time became the Grand Sheik of the New York tent, which is the founding tent of the Sons, and the only one with the name Sons of the Desert. One of my functions is to correspond with would-be tents throughout the world, and recently we've added one in Saudi Arabia. As you know, there's one in Norway that's forming. We have inquiries from Italy, from Hungary, and our most recent members have joined from Hong Kong and South Africa, all in the past 6 months. So it's growing very swiftly and over many parts of the world.
I like them very much. I prefer them to all the comedians. And of course, I prefer their type of comedy to the comedy of today. Theirs was, it had an innocence to it, a childlike innocence. I mean, just like the pranks that children would play.
Now listen, if you don't keep quiet, you'll have to go to bed.
Yes, we'll have to go to bed.
Not we, the kids. Now keep quiet. Let's play hide and seek.
You're it.
No, you're it.
No, you're it.
No, you're it.
I don't want to be your spouse.
They've got a tremendous charm about them. That you can't help loving them, although you don't sort of think of it any other way. It's just the comedy, the love they bring out in everybody. It's terrific.
He told me to tell you he was sick and we didn't have any shipwreck. We were up in the attic and up in Amsterdam. I was up in the attic. He told me to do that. Come on, Stanley. Oh,
Our mother is thinking of kicking us out of home because of our continual pantomimes we do. It's a love. I don't think we'll ever give it up. I must have seen some of their films 100 times, and it doesn't lose anything. I really love it.
I'm going to be married. Who to? She's the sweetest girl you ever saw.
Sweetest girl I ever saw. Well-read, traveled all over the world. And she's mine, all mine.
And she's mine, all mine.
Ta-da! Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da.
We are the sons of the desert, having the time of our lives, marching along 2,000 strong, far from our sweethearts and wives, God bless them. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching, attesting to this melody.
This is the 4th International Convention, and the Sons know each other from previous celebrations. the Grand Hotel in Ulverston, the delegates are met by Bill Cubbin, a former mayor and founder of the town's Laurel and Hardy Museum. Getting his friends to Ulverston has been Bill Cubbin's aim and inspiration for years.
This is a culmination of 6 years planning, and it's all come together. And we've even got a nice day for it. It's absolutely magic. You know, the people here today are absolutely devotees of Laurel and Hardy, and if it wasn't for Laurel and Hardy, we wouldn't be here. I mean, that's what it's all about.
What? You put it on my foot now.
Now heave ho!
Heave ho! Heave ho!
I'm shattered, I'm tired from the waist down to my toes.
Have you had a good time?
Oh, wonderful. I'm just enchanted. England is everything and more than I expected.
Oh, well, I'm excited, having a good time. We've thought about coming to England for a long time, and everyone's been so friendly and gracious, and it's just been a fine trip so far.
What do you think of Ulverston?
I love it. It's so quaint. It's just wonderful.
I'm a projectionist at a Los Angeles movie theater.
Do you have your own projection equipment?
Oh, yeah. After a hard day at work, I go home and then run Laurel and Hardy films.
I believe one of my favorite scenes is the one in way out west where they sing and do the little dance.
In the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Do you do that dance?
Well, hardly, but...
Oh, I do. I try.
I like the fast humour, the fast destructive humour. I love seeing people fall through walls and sort of knock houses down and demolish cars in about half a second flat. So it's fast, destructive, slapstick humour.
Favourite film, the one which is called Toad in a Hole, where they buy a boat and try and refurbish it to go out and do their own fishing. And the things that happen to that boat are just unbelievable.
I think my favourite really is Helpmates. I think that has everything in Laurel and Hardy. The lovely situation where Ollie's trying to clean up the house and Stan helps him finish it up by demolishing the whole place.
Ollie. What? Where do you keep your handkerchiefs? In the top drawer.
Do you do any Laurel and Hardy impressions at all? Do you do any?
Yes.
What do you do? Show us one.
My wife is from Russia, and she did not hear of Laurel and Hardy till she met me.
Are you from the South?
Sure am.
Well, fan my brow. I'm from the South.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
Well, shut my mouth. I'm from the South, too.
South of what, sir?
The south of London.
London.
I didn't see any movie of Laurel and Hardy. And I was very impressed when I saw first movie, Music Box and The Big Business. I was just dying from laugh. And I became a member of
tint.
10.
At first, I just laughed at their films, but then after watching them and getting more understanding of their technique, I became more fascinated at how they did things. So at a vintage film, I can watch 10 times and still be fascinated, not lose anything after all these watchings. We had a pie fight outside a movie theater in November, and I did play Stan Laurel. Sacrificed a suit for the honor, but it was worth it. You know.
I am a musician. I am teaching. I finished conservatory in Russia, and classical music.
What instrument do you play?
Piano.
Piano? They're not very well looked after in Laurel and Hardy films, are they?
I don't think there's ever been a Laurel and Hardy film where a piano is left intact.
Laurel and Hardy would be astounded to see this parade through the streets of Ulverston. Everything in the parade recreates a scene from the film The Sons of the Desert. Stan died in poverty in 1965, 8 years after Ollie. Their star had faded after the great comedies of the 1930s. Now, because of television, they are world famous again. And not only their fans, but also their various co-stars come to Ulverston to pay homage. The climax of the parade comes when the sons gather outside the house where Stan was born. Such is the spirit and elation of the event that not everyone knows they have arrived.
People have all been wonderful to us, putting up with us Yanks. It's been... See what I mean?
What do you do in Chicago when you're not doing Laurel and Hardy? What's your job?
I work as an insurance claims adjuster.
Was it easy to get time off to come here?
Difficult, but worth it. They don't know I'm gone.
This is a dream trip of a lifetime for me, and I hope to retire here someday.
What do you think of Stan's house?
Haven't seen it yet.
Is it
next on the tour? You like the pub?
It's over there. Is it as you expected it to be?
Oh. Well, we've seen the photographs, and it's very similar.
This is Jeff. Hi. This is Jeff Honenberg. Nice to meet you. Oh, that's fine.
Outside the house, there are speeches. Bill Cuban is there, of course, with Rosina Lawrence, heroine of Way Out West, and Henry Brandon, the villain from Babes in Toyland, and a more recent figure from comedy, Jeffrey Holland of Heidi High. Stan Laurel would recognize the music hall tradition which runs rich and strong in all of them. The whole event is Bill Cuban's achievement.
I started 6 years ago when I was in Chicago in 1978, and everybody in America was thirsting for knowledge of the hometown of Stan Laurel, and I happened to be the one person that had all the answers to the questions that they were asking. And one of the things I said during that convention, which I still have on record, was that I hoped that one day the convention of the Sons of the Desert could be held here in Ulverston, Stan's hometown. And my fulfillment today is that dream.
The memory of Laurel and Hardy turned Ulverston upside down. For the people who were there reliving their films, there will never be anyone like them again. Their style of humor creates a whole personal world of imitated catchphrases and gestures. It's a music hall world which goes back to a time even before the films were made.
When did you first start doing Laurel and Hardy?
Before they were born.
Are you Sons of the Desert yourself?
Yeah. That's the first match, oldest thing.
When did you join?
Years ago.
He's a founder member, I'm not. I joined a little bit later.
Do you have a favourite scene in a Laurel and Hardy film?
Hey, do we have a favourite scene?
Yes. In the them there hills where they're singing, you know. Da 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 da.
Well, I knew the boys while I was in the gang. We were very close at the Roach studio. It was like a big family. And we were over at people's houses for dinner, and they would be over to our house for dinner, so we were like a family rather than like a film studio.
And how do you account for this immense popularity they still have so long after they're no longer with us?
Because they have a type of a comedy that just doesn't die. It stays with us. It makes you laugh. Ones that I've seen over and over and over, I still wind up with my sides aching and tears rolling down my eyes and cackling like an old witch.
Hurry up, we're all ready.
Now, say, isn't that wonderful?
Aren't they lovely? Don't they look
Those two, a lot of sandwiches.
Don't they look good?
Pick that up, Stanny.
Good!
Put that down! Don't do that. Don't you get out of the sandwiches. We've had it push me like you. And get back on the stage. Well, you can't do that to me. You haven't any right to push me.
Boys, now stop.
Well, you saw what he did there. You can't do that to me.
Boys, now stop this.
Well, it was his fault.
Well, remember.
I got along beautifully with them. I was in enormous awe of them, but they didn't allow that to last very long. But I did make my first, not my only boner, but my first and most terrifying boner, I think almost the first day of shooting. They were preparing a scene, and they were in the habit of looking over the script and then tearing that up and improvising around the theme, you know, like a good jazz musician. And they finally sat there and said, well, you say that, and Stanley, you say that, and Babe, you say that, and then I'll do this, and then Henry, you say this, and then I'll do that, and you do that, and so on. All right, let's get up and shoot it. And I said, aren't we going to rehearse it? And Stanley said, do you want to spoil it? Humor was so innocent. There was never any double entendre of any kind. And they never hurt anyone. They might hit him with a dart or over the head or knock him in the water or set them so-and-so over tea kettle and all that. But nobody was ever killed or maimed or anything, which now is the basis of humor, you know. It's interesting on the bus to see the little television set is continually playing Laurel and Hardy pictures.
Yeah.
And instead of watching the beautiful countryside, they're watching the picture.
Well, now to round off this evening on BBC Two, vintage comedies supplied by Laurel and Hardy, who set out to plan the perfect day.
Going on a picnic. You got a lovely day for it. Yeah, you bet. Well, goodbye. Bye. 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 Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
The traffic on the street slows.
Has no one heard the news? Where are all my tomorrows now? I'll never be the same somehow. A special someone's gone, but the memories linger on. The good times and the bad, sometimes happy, sometimes sad. Goodbye.